Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you didn't already watch yesterday's video, you might want to check that out. That's me doing the cold air intake install. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to drive around with the air box in this video, and we're going to monitor the inlet air temperatures on my scanner. Then when we do the cold air intake install, which I am doing today, and then this will be tomorrow's video, because obviously I'll have to test it with both intakes, I will drive around an hour later and I will test the inlet air temperatures then. And I went and drove the car around, warmed it up, now I'm doing this. And then it'll sit for about an hour, and then I'll drive it around, check the temperatures, install the cold air intake, make sure it sits for about an hour, check to make sure the coolant temperatures and everything on both runs are about the same on the scanner, and then we'll see if there's really any difference. If it's only 3 to 4 or 5 degrees, then it could be a lot of variables, but if it's a big difference, we'll know it works. So I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, just because this car and most other modern cars sucks air in, has the snorkel, and it's not like a car with a carburetor and an intake on the center. Now we're running it to a snorkel or something. I don't think it's really going to matter. So we're going to find out. I know the sound will be different and some other stuff, but I want to test specifically for cold air, if the air is actually colder, because it's called a cold air intake after all. If they advertise that it made the induction noise better and was freer flowing, sure, but when they call it a cold air intake in the name, let's find out if it's actually a cold air intake. So let's drive the car. So IAT, inlet air temperature, top one, 70 degrees. So I'm gonna drive around, monitor that, let the coolant temperature go up a little bit, and keep all the runs the same when I do the second run, and we're gonna see how much lower it is. Also, it's about 40 degrees out here, so we're about 30 degrees over the ambient temperature, with the car being warm since I drove it earlier. So it's also going to be warm when I do the second test, and I'll make sure the coolant temperatures are about the same. It's 138 right now, so I'll do the run once the thermostat opens, and then whatever that temperature is, going like 45 miles an hour, I will use, and that will be what I do for my other run. It's not going to be incredibly scientific, but if the degrees from the cold air intake to this intake are almost the same or only a few different, then we'll know it's not really doing anything as far as cold air. So I'll let you kind of view the results at the end and determine what you think. So I'm going to go drive and we'll show you. Alright guys, so I'm home now on my drive, and I'm going to do the same route when I do the cold air intake. Once I started driving, it settled down to 57 degrees, and it stayed at 57. So what we're going to use for that baseline to compare the cold air intake is 57 degrees. So if we're anywhere between like 55, 54, and like 60, we're just going to say is like margin of error. So if it's within 3 or 4 degrees either way, I'm not really going to call that a win, because really doesn't matter. But if it's like 10 or 20 degrees, I'll call that a win. So we're going to install it, do the test. The video of me installing it will be uploaded before this video, so if you're curious, I think I've already told you, but check that one out. Alright, so the cold air intake's on. The coolant temperature is within a few degrees of last time. The car sat for the same amount of time as last time. So I'm going through the scanner and I'm pulling up inlet air temperatures, which are the same about as last time to start. So I'll put the scanner in the door, we'll go for the same drive, and we'll see if we get the same results. So I'll report back at the end. Alright folks, well, it looks like what we have is a hot air intake, because I just drove, it just went up to 66 because I parked, but I could not get this below 64 degrees the entire time I was driving. And last time I could easily, just by cruising, it was at 57. So a 7-degree difference with the same engine coolant temperature, with the car sitting for the same amount of times between drives on the same day, an hour apart. So you tell me what you think from that in the comments. I think 7 degrees difference is kind of more than the margin of error. I don't think it's hurting the car that it's only a few degrees, but I don't think it's worth it to buy, especially at the price they charge for these new. It sounds cool, but that's about it. So that is my results. It's probably going to vary car to car. Like, I know on like the G8, like the Veraram intakes and some of those, like when my dad had his G8, that completely move where the air sucked in, those do work. But just a basic cold air intake like this engine one doesn't do anything from my experience, from what I felt in my friends' cars that have had them personally, and now what I've proven, at least in my mind I've proven. I know there's going to be people in the comments that say this test isn't valid or whatever. I mean, it's the internet, so whatever. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Have a good day.